What's good? What's good? I'm back. Yours truly, one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and much, much more. Today, I'm going to react to a video. Charlamagne the God defends girls basketball team that was banned for refusing to play against transgender. This is actually a Black conservative perspective video. And he's actually reacted to it. Greg Foreman from Charlotte. Shouts out to him. Fellow North Carolinian. Before we do get into that, though, let me give you a word from one of our sponsors.
Are you a musician looking for music marketing and promotion? Then look no further than Promo Palace LLC, your one-stop shop for all music promotion services. Services include Spotify playlist pitching, YouTube video promotion, record pool promotion, blog placements, radio airplay promotion, SoundCloud promotion, and much more. With over 2,000 customers and over 10 years of experience in online promotion, Promo Palace LLC is a company you can trust. For more info, please go to promopalace.biz. See you there.
You heard a beautiful lady. If you need online marketing promotions, please check us out, promopalace.biz, your one-stop shop. And let's get into it.
They are now banned for all future activities and tournaments moving forward. So they can't play anything, tournaments, not in a tournament, an activity, anything, because they violated that policy.
That's not fair. Because that sounds like common sense to me. Like, we've all seen Joanna Man. We've seen Grandmama.
Well, not only that,
Joanna Man. Yeah, I'm just saying, we've seen that.
Well, not only that.
That person was probably out there averaging 30 and 20 against them women, man.
Come on, man. Remember that? All right, guys, so once again, we got to talk about the story involving the Mid-Vermont Christian School girls basketball team that decided to forfeit a playoff basketball game against another school because they have a transgender athlete on the team, aka biological male. Okay, they said, look, we don't want to play against biological males. It's not fair. It's unsafe. We don't want to do it. We forfeit. Okay, so in retaliation for that, the woke powers that be allegedly not only banned the girls basketball team from competing in sports, they actually banned the whole school from being able to compete in sports. So these girls standing up for women's rights, okay, girls' rights, right?
Before you finish, you talking about guilty by association, boy. Like, punishing one, punish all. Let's keep it moving.
2023, these girls got punished for that, right? Because apparently in 2023, the rights of men or biological males matter more than biological girls or women, okay? I mean, women have fought for what, over a century for more rights just for men to ultimately come out on top, particularly men who want to be women. Absolutely amazing stuff, okay? And we're revisiting this story because Charlamagne the God has chimed in on this story. And, you know, it's a shame that we live in a world, a politics where the left is so insane that when you get a leftist, okay, who's a progressive, Charlamagne the God, no doubt, is a progressive. When he comes out here and calls out the insanity, you know that, again, the left is insane. So I want to talk about that. But before I get in that, I actually want to play a clip from CNN who covered this story, okay? And I want you guys to pay attention to how CNN covered this and the angle that they took on this story, because it tells you everything you need to know about the left-wing liberal media. Take a look.
Idaho passed its 2020 ban on transgender athletes participating in girls' or women's sports in that state. More than a dozen other states have passed similar laws, while a handful of blue states are doing the exact opposite, enforcing laws that protect the ability of trans people who want to.
I hate how they always red and blue things. Like, it's like somebody told me the other day, like, it's Bloods and Crips, man. Republicans and Democrats are like legal Bloods and Crips.
Participate in athletic programs consistent with their gender identity, not the sex that they were assigned at birth. Vermont is one of those states. CNN's Bryn Gingras is there, where one private Christian parochial school has been barred from competing in all sports after the girls' basketball team there refused to play against another team that had a transgender athlete.
Vermont, one of the country's most progressive states, publicly debating a controversy involving kids that one state lawmaker says left her with
disappointment in the adults.
It happened in State Senator Rebecca White's district. Mid-Vermont Christian School forfeited a state tournament girls basketball game because the opposing team had a transgender player on its roster. The school arguing a, quote, very real issue of safety was at play. What followed? A swift and sweeping penalty against the school's athletic program by the state's governing body, the Vermont Principals Association. It banned the high school from all competition in all sports moving forward.
Is that a bridge too far? No, I don't think it's a bridge too far. The athletes that we're talking.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if that's the case, we got to punish, everybody in the town for the crime that somebody down the street commits. We got to punish everybody in the state for a crime that one North Carolinian commits. Or, like, what kind of shit is this? Like, we're going to punish the whole school because the girls' basketball team didn't want to. They forfeited the game, so let's punish the whole school. Let's punish everybody. Like, you talking about guilty by association. I mean, damn. I mean, this is crazy. Let's keep it moving.
About are unlikely to go on to some of the elite professional athletics. But that concept of
hold up. So that makes it better. That makes it better since they're unlikely to make it to elite level play in like college or pros. So it's okay. It makes it better.
Discriminating against another young person, it causes long-term outcomes for trans youth because they're hearing rhetoric that is telling them that they're not valuable, that in fact they're dangerous.
The VPA said the high school violated the state's policy of support of.
What does a team not wanting to play against another team as a transgender have to say with? Where do you get it? The rhetoric that they're not valuable. Oh, they're extremely valuable to the team that has transgender because they're definitely going to win the game. They're definitely going to win the game. They're extremely valuable. I can tell you that much. So what she just spewed is some straight up horse shit, some straight up bullshit.
Transgender student athletes and building an inclusive community for each student to grow and thrive. In response, Mid-Vermont Christian School wrote that it would be appealing the decision, adding, canceling our membership is not a solution and does nothing to deal with the very real issue of safety and fairness facing women's sports in our beloved state.
These are kids.
And,
kids.
Oh, and the biggest key word of that was fairness. It's definitely not fair. And I'm going to rip this to shreds at the end of this video. Let's keep it moving.
Should not feel like they're being ostracized and pushed away because of they're just figuring out who they are. That is absolutely the worst thing you could do to a child, no matter if they're 8 or 18.
Their case, it's more than an opinion. It's more of a religion. I mean, they're a Christian school, and they feel that their beliefs are being pushed aside.
And this is why I gotta rip the shred. Like, I'm a laws of nature guy, so let's get this straight. It's okay for the transgender to believe in make believe. For a biological man to be a make believe woman, but let's punish the school that believes in the make-believe God. It's such a double standard here. It's such a hypocrisy. And that's what I hate about most of this shit that I end up having to talk about on this podcast is the double standards and the hypocrisies of it. So it's okay for this biological born male to believe he's a female when he's not and never will be. It's fairy tales, imaginary, make believe, made up. But let's punish the church over here, that they believe in a imaginary, make believe, fairy tale, Jesus Christ and a God. But damn, I mean, like, what the, like, you gotta punish the whole school? It's crazy. Let's keep it moving.
Vermont Christian School refused an interview with CNN, as did the school they originally refused to play against. But the on-court controversy has reignited debate about the inclusion and equity of transgender athletes.
If they choose not to,
if the equity would be in, let them have their own leagues, let them have transgender leagues, because this is where this whole argument gets ripped to shreds. Is there ever going to be an issue with male sports, with biological born females identifying as men and competing in male sports? No. You know why? Because they won't even make the team. They won't even make the cuts. And of course, unless they make it where you have to include people on the team just because you can't go for, you know, tryouts and cuts and anything of that nature.
play that team, then they should absolutely forfeit. But it's wrong to carry that over to other members of their community and other teams at the school.
You know what? I could agree with what I could agree with what he said right there. I mean, you know, that's fine. Like, they have to forfeit the game because you know, like, it fucks up the rest of the league and the rest of the season. But this idea that we're going to punish the whole school because just one sports team of the whole school, they still got boys basketball, probably boys football, boys baseball, girls soccer, girls volleyball. Probably there's probably a ton of different sports teams at that school.
Last year, the NCAA, the governing body for collegiate athletics, updated its policies on the issue, landing on a sport-by-sport approach. At the high school level, guidance on participation changes state by state, according to the latest data from the advocacy group GLSEN, with 25 states placing bans or restrictions on trans or non-binary athletes from playing. Vermont is one of only 10 states which are fully inclusive, something White says the states worked hard for.
We're an inclusive state. We're a welcoming state. So it doesn't surprise me that we've had a situation where folks are pushing back against some of that inclusive work that we've done, because it is innovative, it is bold, and it's
it's only innovative because you're trying to just invent new genders and just make up new genders out of the sky. You know, you're just trying to invent them as you go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and this idea, like this identity, gender identity rabbit hole that they've opened up is going to come to bite them in the ass. In the long run, if this keeps up, men will own every sports record in female sports and male sports. Because I'm never going to buy into a biological man calls himself a woman. I'll call you by your first name, but that's it. Because my stance is that, you know, unless you're going to cut off your penis, get a vagina, get knocked up, breastfeed a kid, you're not going to never be a woman. Unless a biological female is going to grow a penis, knock a woman up, and have kids, it's not happening. It's you know, you can attempt it, but you're not going to be successful.
important.
And separate from sports, in fact, Vermont is reaffirming its commitment to transgender youth, Jake, by passing a shield law in one chamber of its legislature just last week, which will safeguard gender-affirming treatments done in the state, like surgeries and hormone therapies. Jake.
Yeah, so clearly the angle that CNN is taking there is an angle that sides with the woke revolutionaries, right? They believe that this is a issue about trans equity, right? Again, amazing how these people who claim to be so pro-women when it comes to, you know, being for women, when it comes to abortion and stuff like that, but when it comes to this issue right here, they're very anti-woman, right? Funny how that works. And I want to
and that works a lot. it's just like with the voter ID, you know, like Democrats are the same ones that said voter ID are racist, but the same ones that try to paint a false narrative that Black Americans are not smart enough or equipped enough to get an ID, when every Black American 18 and over that's had a job or had a car or rented a apartment or has bought a shotgun or a handgun or, you know, anything else, you could open up a bank account. They all have had IDs, just like every white American and every Hispanic American that's had to do that. But, you know, it's like you said, it's funny how that works.
That's a Democrat lawmaker real quick, because what she was saying was just absolutely insane. She literally was saying, well, these girls aren't going to go pro anyways, so it's totally fine for them to compete against biological males unfairly, right? They're not going to go pro, so it doesn't matter, right? Well, I mean, look, have you ever thought about the fact that competing against a biological male may make it harder for them to get scholarships or for them to, you know, get to the next level of competition, right? When you're playing against a male who, you know, at that point, if I was a college or if I was a pro team or whatever, I would try to recruit the biological male, right? Because if we're considering biological males to be women, then, hey, I might as well give him the scholarship, right? Why would I give it to a biological woman?
In which he's saying, he's basically proving the point of same thing I was saying, that when she was saying that it sends the message that they have no value. No, they have a shit ton of value. Like you said, if we're saying that biological men are women, it has a ton of value, because they'll be the fucking MVP, leading scorer, leading rebounder, shot blocker, steals, assists, free throws, 3 points, anything you can fucking name.
I can just give it to a biological male and then go and win championships. Again, absolutely ridiculous that she made that argument on CNN. Now I want to go ahead and play the clip from the Breakfast Club and Charlamagne the God responding to this and the conversation they had around this, because, again, I know I'm not crazy, right? I know that the average person who takes a look at this issue is going to side with common sense. Take a look.
That's not fair, because that sounds like common sense to me. Like, we've all seen Charlamagne. We've seen Grandmama.
What is this? Paul Pickett Podcast, Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast. It sounds like common sense to me. Let's keep it moving.
Well, not only that, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we've seen that.
Well, not only that,
that person was probably out there averaging 30 and 20 against them women, man.
Remember that swimmer that he was a man, and then he transitioned to a woman, and when he was swimming as a man, he was like number 80th.
Yes.
And then when he transitioned to a woman,
he was like number one or something. That's what my point. Whoever they were playing against, I got to see the stats. If this person is averaging 55 points,
50, 40,
17 rebounds, 22 blocks, I'm not playing against them either. That's not fair.
Yeah, my concern is, you know, even the religious beliefs, you know, them saying up front, you know, hey, we don't mind following your policy, but we're a private school and it's a Christian school. It's a Christian high school. So it's really interesting to see, you know, how I guess they're not getting any leeway based upon, you know, their own individual right, you know, based on their religious beliefs. And they attach that again to, well, okay, if you don't do what we say, you won't get funding. And so this is just a real interesting story.
And yeah, she's really kind of clarifying what I was saying and validating, like, oh, so you can be a biological man and believe you're a woman when you're not. But, you know, the Christians can't believe in God, you know, oh, hell no. But that's the thing. There's an attack on Christianity. And I'm not a Christian. I don't believe in Jesus. I don't believe in God. And if there was a Jesus, he definitely wasn't white. I believe in the laws of nature and whatnot. But my sister, she's a Christian. My brother-in-law is a Christian. And there's the most honest, decent human beings I know on the planet. You know, so like the morals, I don't knock the morals of Christianity. Like if you're a true Christian and follow the morals that are explained in there, you know. So like, yeah, it's like it's such a double standard hypocrisy. You can believe you're something you're not, but I can't believe in a fake imaginary God. or I gotta be extremely punished, and the whole school's the enemy, the bad guy. But that's what it is. It's just an attack on. It's not an attack on the school. It's an attack on Christianity. And I would argue that Islam, this shit doesn't play with Islam either. This transgender and multiple genders, I would argue Islam is definitely ain't having this shit far more than Christianity. And you'll probably see attack on Islam in America as well, because this shit ain't gonna line up with Islam either, or Judaism, or any of that. Those man-made religions.
And I think guys should look it up and look more into it.
I also would hide
Jason Lee what
I
he
knew,
thinks.
I knew, I knew
Jason.
they were going to
Go
ask
ahead,
the
go ahead.
resident gay his opinion.
Go ahead, Jason.
People would be surprised, but I actually agree with you. I don't think it's fair. I mean, can you imagine, like, when you look at what happened with DeMar Hamlin, if you put a biological woman on the field and he was to get hit, there could be like some real serious. I don't know. People are going to be mad because they say, "Oh, you should say equality." I'm all for equality, but in this instance, I just don't know that.
That's not equality when somebody has a biological advantage against you. You know what I mean? And I just I don't dig it. I don't think it's fair.
And you know what? The fact that Charlamagne just said that somebody has a biological advantage against you, just really deadens the argument that we're all created equal. We're not all exactly equal. We're different heights, different weights, different just so many athletic abilities, different strengths. Some people just, I know dudes that would just cut more. They would just physically cut more. They didn't even do a lot of weightlifting. Their body was just naturally cut more. Dudes could jump farther, faster, higher than others. Like, I've never bought into this. We're all created equal. We all got different paths. That's the thing. We're all unique. I don't think there's no two people on the planet that are just exactly alike. I think there's always going to be a difference. You could probably take a 100 characteristics, and I guarantee you can go down 100, 99 of them be correct. Then you get to that one where the difference is just comes in,
But I've always said, and you've heard me on record say this, you should put one transgender woman on every WNBA team. I think that
put Caitlyn out there. She's like the greatest athlete ever, right?
She get washed. Now, this generation of WNBA player, the Asia Wilsons and all them, they'll wash Caitlyn Jenner. But you should have if you want to make the WNBA even more exciting, because I like the fundamental basketball the WNBA plays. But if you really want to make it more exciting, put one transgender woman on each team.
Can you please not use Joanna Man as a reference, though? Because that's what made me think of Caitlyn.
But I'm just talking about how ridiculous it looked when this person with a biological advantage was out there playing against women.
Yeah.
That movie showed us what could go down. I'm not mad at them. I do wish that this team wasn't hiding behind religion, though, Tess. Even with the religious rule, just say straight up, no, it's just not fair.
Well, they did.
Oh,
They said
did?
in the
Okay.
statement. Yeah, they said in the statement that no, this is not fair based on having a ladies play against a biological man. I was just pointing to the fact that when they changed this policy, they put it on the table earlier last year, saying we're telling you now we're not going to be in line with everything that, on this discrimination policy they had in place. So they're playing both angles on this. No pun intended.
Playing both angles, hilarious. Oh, shout out.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Even the guy that is LGBTQ, that's gay, on the panel, said, I don't think that this is equality, right? This is not equality. Then you have Charlamagne the God, who, in my opinion, may or may not, be LGBTQ. Who knows? He claims that, this is not fair, right? It's not fair. We've seen the movie Joanna Man. We all know what goes down when you have biological males compete against biological women in sports, okay? The women get destroyed, right? I mean, the biological girls have absolutely no chance at all, right? And again, it really is a shame that when somebody on the left is so kooky that when you have somebody that's a progressive that comes out here and says a little bit of common sense, it's worth noting, right? It's worth saying, well, Charlamagne ain't that crazy, right? He ain't that crazy, okay? Even though I think some of his takes and his loyalty to the Democrat Party is just ridiculous. But But on certain issues, I think Charlamagne does have a lot more common sense than his colleagues, okay, his peers, okay, because that's what this is. This is common sense. I did a video earlier today about Richard Dawkins, who's an evolutionary biologist, and he came out and said, yeah, there's only two sexes, right? Like, this gender stuff is nonsense. And you don't have to be an evolutionary biologist to know that, right? You don't have to be an evolutionary biologist to come to that conclusion, okay? You can be somebody like Charlamagne the God or just a normal person, and you can see that, yeah, this is not fair, this is not right, okay?
Or you could be somebody like me who believes in the laws of nature and feels that the laws of nature have already dictated this. This has already been dictated, defined, stamped, sealed, seal of approval by the laws of nature. And I strongly believe this is just mankind trying to dictate every single thing on this planet. You know, like it's like I was thinking about the other day how people think it's not inhumane to lock up animals every single day. But oh, God forbid you lock up a criminal. God forbid you lock up a rapist, a mass murderer, somebody who did an armed robbery, or to damn near beat somebody to death. God forbid you lock them up, you know. But like I said, I'm a laws of nature guy. So once again, thank you for tuning in. Paul Pickett Podcast, and I'm out.